Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Bref Nearly and you're listening to the Sports Roundup show here on this August bank holiday weekend. It's episode 211 of the podcast and today's show is sponsored by the local enterprise office here in County Leitrim. I'd like to bring special notice to their online trading voucher, which currently operates until the end of September at a 90% value. So they will pay 90% of any costs for any Leitrim business who are eligible and apply for the grant for their online trading presence to be maintained or to be created. Get in touch with them or ourselves here at Leitrim Daily. We do offer web development now as part of our service, and it's an opportunity for you to support the work that we're doing here at Leitrim Daily by sending a little bit of business our way. We appreciate all of the support from the listeners who have been in touch over the last few weeks. Now, a busy weekend's action. We have no less than 18 guests on the show this week, so we're going to just fly through as many of them as possible across all the grades, senior, intermediate and junior, in both the men's and ladies' codes of Gaelic football. There's a little touch of soccer as well with the return of the SSE Airtricity League and Sligo Rovers with their victory in Derry on Friday evening. In terms of the results this weekend, the Leitrim GAA Senior Football Championship first, and of course the weather played havoc with the fixtures over the weekend. Some atrocious game conditions over the weekend. Surface water everywhere to see on the stream from Drumshanbo. The game in Aughawillan fell foul of the weather on Saturday night as well. But let's run down through the fixtures and the results of the weekend. In Group 1 of the Senior Football Championship, Mohill 1-11, Fenagh St. Collins 1-9, and in the refixed game played this afternoon at 2 p.m. in Aughawillan 3-7, St Mary's Kiltubrid 3-10, an absolute cracker of a game. We'll have more from both sides in the show later on. In terms of Group 2, Drumreilly 1-6, Melvin Gaels 2-19, a comprehensive victory there for the Kinlough based side away to Drumreilly, while Allen Gaels and Leitrim Gaels played out a draw 1-10 to 1-10 in Drumshanbo in that live streamed game from Leitrim GAA on their YouTube channel on Saturday evening. In the Intermediate Football Championship, one game called off, that's Auckland versus Bornacoola. That fell foul of the weather, also game to be refixed. Esslin 2-11, Ballinamore 1-11. A surprise there from Esslin, but nonetheless always capable of a result, and they pulled off a good one-goal victory there, 2-11 to 1-11 at home in Esslin against probably the favourites for that clash, Ballinamore. So throwing a complete spanner in the works for Ballinamore, but it remains to be seen how that will have an effect on the league table. We'll take a look at that later on in the programme. In Group 2, Carrigallen 11 points, Drumahare 1-9, a 1-point victory for Drumahare in that particular clash away to Carrigallen, while Kiltubrid went down in Ballinamore to a strong Gortletteragh side in Group 2 of that Intermediate Football Championship, 1-7 to 16 points, the final score there in favour of Gortletteragh. Now, in terms of the Junior Football Championship, in the Junior A competition, a full round of fixtures played yesterday afternoon. Cloone 2-15, Gortletteragh 5 points. We'll be hearing from both sides later in the show in that game, while Carrigallen 2-4, Glencarmanor 1-7, a draw in that particular clash. In Group 2 of the Junior A Football Championship, and off 6 points, Sean O'Heslins, who've been very impressive so far, 3-17, while Aughawillan failed to field a team. Aughawillan awarded the game in that particular fixture. Now, if we take a look at the league tables across the senior and intermediate and junior football championships on the men's side of the draw, in Group 1 of the Senior Football Championship, Sean O'Heslins and Mohill lead the way, 4 points each, albeit Mohill having played one game more. Fenagh St. Collins and St Mary's 2 points each after St Mary's victory against Aughawillan this afternoon. Aughawillan still 0 points. What that means on the league tables in the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship Group 1, Sean O'Heslin's top of the table, 4 points from their opening 2 games, while Mohill also on 4 points but with 1 extra game played. Fenagh St. Collins 2 points from 2 games, while St Mary's, their snatch and grab tonight, albeit haven't been the best team for the entire game, more or less. They also 2 points from today's victory. That is after 3 games, though 1 game left against Ballinamore to come next weekend. Aughawillan now in a bit of bother at the foot of the table, 0 points from 2 games. Aughawillan will be looking towards their clash with Fenagh next week, as the must-win game of the championship. It would see those three sides potentially end up on 2 points each, and it may come to score difference. So an absolutely massive game for Aughawillan next week in that particular clash. St Mary's will be looking for a result against Ballinamore, or a hope that Fenagh don't lose to Aughawillan in that particular encounter, and it should give them enough to get into a quarter-final space. But plenty of permutations still in that Group 1. In Group 2, Melvin Gaels and Glencarmanagh, they topped the table 4 points from their opening games. Melvin Gaels 1 game left, while Glencarmanagh have 2 games left in that competition. Leitrim Gaels did throw away an 8-point lead to draw with Allen Gaels on Saturday evening. They have 3 points from their opening 2 games, while Allen Gaels on a single point from their 3 games, 1 fixture remaining against Drumreilly, who sit on the bottom of the table, 0 points from 2 games. So Drumreilly and Allen Gaels will clash on the last round, not next weekend, but the weekend after, and it will be a winner-take-all clash no matter what happens. Should Drumreilly pick up points this weekend or not, it will be a case of winner-takes-all, with the loser of that clash ending up in that relegation playoff. There's no real other possible permutations for how that's going to go down over the next week or so. So plenty to play for in the senior championship. Nobody out of the woods in terms of qualification, but also nobody consigned to that relegation playoff just yet. In the intermediate championship, it's a little bit more defined on that side of things. Of course, the Bornacoola-Aughawillan game postponed does create a little bit of a hole in Group 1 in that league table. But at the moment, Drumkeeran on top with 4 points from their opening 2 games. Bornacoola, Ballinamore and Esslin 2 points apiece. Bornacoola, Ballinamore with 2 games played, Esslin with 3, while Aughawillan 0 points from their opening game. But they'll be confident of maybe giving a better account of themselves as that competition progresses. On the other side of the draw, much more clear-cut. Anaduff 4 points, Gortletteragh 4 points from 2 games, while Drumahare with 4 points from their opening 3 games. Kiltubrid and Carrigallen still without a single league point on the board. Kiltubrid 1 game left. That particular clash with Carrigallen will be winner-take-all, winners into the quarterfinals, losers to go into a relegation playoff that neither side will want to be in. In the Junior A Football Championship, Cloone 4 points from 2 games, Glenfarne Kilty 2 points from 1 game, a walkover received on the first round of fixtures, while Carrigallen and Glencarmanagh, their draw sees them with their first points of the season. Gortletteragh on bottom of the table, 0 points from their opening game. While in Group 2, Sean O'Heslins lead the way. Very impressive scoring difference of 55 points after those 2 games. 4 points from those 2 games. St Mary's Kiltubrid and Aughawillan with 2 points each, 1 win in their opening game, while Anaduff and Aughawillan, they are vying for that relegation spot. Those 2 heavy defeats to Ballinamore, 32 points and 35 points respectively on the minus column in the scoring difference. So not a great start for either of those 2 clubs in the Junior A Football Championship, both still to get their first league points of the year. Moving on to ladies football, so a load of games played in the senior, intermediate and junior championships. We'll run down through the fixtures, take a look at the league tables, and then we'll get into the interviews on the actual show today. In the senior championship, St Joseph's won 10, Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins 3-4 in an entertaining game played in Carrigallen on Sunday morning. A draw, St Bridget's 3 points, St Francis 1-13, a good result for the Ballinamore Drumshanbo amalgamation with their first win of the season, while Glencarmanagh, they beat Kiltubrid 3-17 to 1-6 in the senior football championship. In the intermediate championship, 2 games this weekend. Kiltubrid Gaels 2-5, Drumahare 2-12, while Mohill and St Mary's Kiltubrid, quite a one-sided game in the end for the table toppers prior to the competition, or to the weekend's action. 4-13 to Mohill, 1-3 to St Mary's Kiltubrid in that particular clash. In terms of the junior championship, 2 games played. St Francis second side 1-7, Fenagh St Collins 7-17, while in Drumkeeran it was Drumkeeran 6-15, St Joseph's B 3-4. So big wins for both of the first teams in that junior competition. How that looks in the league table: in the senior grade, Glencarmanagh out on their own, 4 points from 2 games, while Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins and St Joseph's share second spot. They're on 3 points each after 2 games. St Francis in fourth, 2 points from their 2 games, while Kiltubrid and St Bridget's yet to get off the mark. In the intermediate championship, we have Mohill on 4 points from their 2 games, Drumahare 2 points from 1 game, while St Mary's Kiltubrid 2 points from their 2 games. Anaduff and Kiltubrid Gaels, 1 and 2 games respectively played, no points on the board just yet. While in the Junior Championship, Drumkieran lead the way, 3 points from their 2 games. Fenagh St Collins, St Joseph's 2 points each, and Glencar Manor with 1 point their draw on the opening day against Drumkieran. St Francis B yet to score a league point this season. Right, let's get into the meat of the show. And one game that was eventually played this afternoon over in Aughawillan, having been called off very late in the day on Saturday night, was their clash with St Mary's. An absolutely massive game for both sides, and a fantastic game played out in a very, very tough, challenging encounter in Aughawillan this afternoon. St Mary's edged it in the end, but it wasn't to be without a little bit of a scare. Quite comfortable in the end. A goal for Aughawillan late on brought them into the game and left 2 points in the game as it neared injury time. And then Morgan Quinn pulled down in the box to give a penalty to Aughawillan in injury time. Coolly converted to put the Willies 1 point to the good. It looked like they were going to go on and push on and win the game, but Carrick broke down the end of the field. Ray Mulvey with a point before Daire Farrell fisted a ball to the back of the net moments later to give the Carrick side a 3-point cushion, which they would hold to the final whistle just seconds later. An absolute heart-wrenching game for both sides to be involved in, because both teams thought they had it at various stages throughout the game. St Mary's, to be fair, the better side for probably 55-56 minutes of the match, with Aughawillan having a purple patch in that last 5-10 minutes of the game. Absolute cracker. The neutrals loved it. Both sides loved it at varying points through the afternoon's entertainment. But let's hear from the actual participants themselves. We heard from coaches on both sides. We heard from Gerry Flanagan of Aughawillan, and first Denis Connerton of St Mary's. Denis Connerton, fine victory in the end tonight.
Yeah, it was a fantastic response after the Mohill game. You know, we were so disappointed with our performance in that game. Mohill are an outstanding team, as everybody knows, but we had to come into the home of Aughawillan tonight, who are a really, really good team, or today I should say, and never mind tonight. I'm thinking about the last day still on Saturday, but they won championships in 14, 16 and 18, and that really tells you how good this team was today, this Aughawillan team. So for our lads to perform in the manner in which they performed, it was a great boost to us. You know, we've a lot of work to do still, and we're well aware of that, but today is a massive stepping stone for us.
Obviously the 2-day, I suppose, postponement of the match because the weather didn't affect the preparation in the camp.
No, well, some things are outside of your control, and in this country the weather is most certainly outside of our control. You never know what you're going to get. It's very strange to see weather like that on the 1st of August. We'd have to cancel a game, but we just walked away from here. We did a little session in Carrick afterwards, and we just prepared and said, we're going to come here, we really need points. You know, we have performed very poorly in the previous 2 games, and the lockdown hasn't treated us very well, and we had a pile of injuries were piling up. But we got Robert Lowe back in the field this evening. That was a great help to us as well, because he's a very canny player and very experienced, and he was a big help because he's that calming influence up front and that bit of class about him as well. But I must, you really have to praise all those lads for the massive effort in which they put in this evening or this afternoon. It was a fantastic effort by them.
Talk us through the last couple of minutes there, for maybe the 29th, 30th minute through, because concede a penalty when you're 2 points up in the last kick of the game. It's scary for any manager.
It's a tough one, you know. Like I'm nearly getting too old for this. For all these, my heart isn't what it used to be, you know. So it was very tough. It was a very soft penalty to give away, but the manner in which the character which we showed to get up the field, get the equalising point, and then to get that winning goal, it's a testament to the character of the guys, and that'll be a big turning point for these lads. You know, it's going to give them a massive boost. A very young panel of players. We played 9 under-20s against Mohill. It probably was a few too many for us to throw in at the deep end, but there's a lot of good young lads coming through the club, and today will be a big stepping stone for them.
It's a very different St Mary's side than we've seen, as you said, in the first 2 rounds. Going forward, that gives you kind of one handle maybe on a quarter-final spot with the game to come against Ballinamore. Have you looked that far forward down the championship, and are you looking at the other side of the group at all?
No, all you can do, and it's a strange year. It's a pandemic year, so games are coming at you very fast. Nothing has been easy for us. We ended up in the group of death. You know, the first game against St Caillins were flying in the game. You know, and then St Mary's manager was involved with them, so it was a tough place for us to have to go. we didn't play well enough. We came off second best on the day. St Caillins were a better team than us. Then Mohill blew us off the park in the second half of the game. You know, it was very difficult to take that defeat. But we responded very well. You know, as Pep Guardiola once famously said, "Don't judge us on the defeat, judge us on the response." And that response was terrific today.
A lot of speculation about your own position during the week. Has that helped galvanise this team together, maybe us against the world kind of spirit?
Well, it's not really. We weren't like that, but it would be very disappointed after the defeat in Carrick. No point saying it wasn't. You know, when you get involved with a project, and when you've been involved with as many projects as I've been over the years, you want to see your fingerprints all over that. And I didn't see them that day. And I was annoyed with that performance, especially when you play in your own backyard. You know, these boys are better than that. You know, and they showed that they're here this evening to come in here. This is one hell of a tough venue to come out of with anything. You know, and we're walking away with 2 points, which are massive points for us.
Ballinamore now next week. What's the thoughts going into that?
Yeah, well, we just after finishing, we know how good they are. You know, they were in the county final last year, and everybody's. I haven't seen them, unfortunately. You know, because the games are all coinciding, so it's very difficult to get a look at the team. We know it's going to be a very tough game. You know, they were capable of beating Mohill. We saw what Mohill did to us. So you know, it's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but. You know, this is what the championship's all about. It is the group of death, and we've made this group very difficult for ourselves, so it's up to ourselves to get ourselves out of this tight spot we're in.
Well, a fantastic response tonight. It's really giving you a lifeline. Well done tonight, and best of luck.
Thanks a million.
We started off reasonably good. Carrick got back into it, and we finished very strong. Just unlucky not to get the draw, maybe, or even a point win.
4 or 5 points there midway through the first half between the sides, but you clawed it back for that injury time penalty, and it looked like he really had the momentum.
We had them on the rack now, in all fairness. But they got up to fair play and went up the field and got a point there from young Mulvey, and then they got to go in the last kick of the ball there. So
I know it's tough after a defeat like that, but I suppose what does this mean for the rest of your campaign? 2 games left.
We have to win. We have to beat Fenagh, and we have to beat Mohill. We have to beat Fenagh anyway. So it's going to go in the head of Fenagh and us. That's what the way things have gone now. That's the Saturday evening.
And in terms of the game, tough game, you'd be well known for a tough battle yourself in your playing days.
Yeah. Well, that's it. All fairness, they had a good out battle out there, and it was a good game, good game, and good conditions compared to Saturday evening.
In terms of the facilities we're in here today in Aughawillan, it's a credit to the club of a small rural parish to have a club like this.
It's a fine place, yeah. It's a credit to them. A lot of work, a lot of development done the last number of years. So it's stood up well. And the pitch stood up well from Saturday evening. With a massive downpour here Saturday evening.
What lessons would you take from today's game?
We'll have to take our chances. That's one thing. We'll have to do next Saturday evening. Any chance we get, we take them, and that's it. Freeze and general play.
It's a hard luck today.
Right.
Now, one game that was played in horrible conditions on Saturday night was Mohill versus Fenagh. Daniel Beck and Eanna Madden joined us after the game to talk about their thoughts on the fixture. Danny Beck, you've been a veteran of many championship campaigns. How does this one rank in terms of the classics?
I thought it was a great game. I thought it was entertaining anyway. I don't know about the quality of football. I think we got out of jail. I think Padraig probably saved us. But no, I'd say it was entertaining for the few people that were here. Just grateful to get out of it.
In terms of those 2 saves that you mentioned towards the end, really probably didn't have right to save either of them and pulled off 2 fantastic saves, and then maybe got lucky with the rebound as well. So living on the edge a little bit, but nonetheless survived to fight another day, top of the table.
Yeah, look, essentially now you're training for a quarter final. I know we've all in 2 weeks. We just have mind the bodies. Just try and get everyone going. There's lots of lads that need football, so we have to get challenges in there as well. Try and get up to speed. Like, you know, we've been off for 3 months just doing their own thing, but you know, try and.
How has it been like coming back into that group environment? Because it's, for most players there, it's probably the first time they've had that big of a break at that time of the year.
I don't know what they were at. They're a lot fitter than I am, but they seem to be doing a lot of it. But no, look, it's different. I suppose you're coming togged out. You're togging out in a dressing room. Then, like the rest, you're tidying up your bits, getting your straps there. But look, once you've your training done, like it's just play football. That's all you're there to do. So get the job done.
In terms of the club, you're never that far away, particularly in the last maybe 10 years or so when it comes to the business end of the championship. What's the hopes this year? Do you think you can bring that Fenagh Cup back to Mohill this year? Is that a realistic ambition for you?
Look, that's the target. Yeah, we said it every year. Like when we play football, we're actually very good, but when we're bad, we can be shocking, and we normally get the wake up calls probably too late. Like last year, Ballinamore turned us over. just need to drive on and make sure that we bring our A game. Like at the end of the day, if we're right, we're as competitive as most teams in Leitrim.
What's the biggest obstacle or obstacles in your path?
There's plenty. I'd say this year, above all years, there's lots of teams that can give the championship a run. Like them boys today, they'll definitely be thereabouts. I think Ballinamore strong, Manor will always be strong, and then you have your Aughawillans. Look, it's wide open, So we just have to worry about ourselves, get our full boys out. We've 30 lads training, so we want to be pulling out of each other, trying to get a jersey.
In terms of the players maybe we haven't seen on the pitch yet in the championship, is there anyone that stands to you training that maybe is really pushing that might not be on the radar for people who have been following maybe not necessarily following the club specifically, but coming up against you over the next couple of weeks? Or are you keeping that a closely guarded secret?
No, it's no secret. Sure, Ian is back there. Sure, no one thought we'd see Ian in a Mohill jersey, so we're delighted to have him back. Alan McLaughlin is back. You have Chick, that's Ronan Kennedy, that's still injured. James Mitchell and David Mitchell are fighting for a jersey, two brothers in one house. Look, we're blessed at the minute. You have Caillin Cannon to come back in there as well. Blessed with numbers, but the work has to be done, and there's lads there now that's after playing 3 weeks in a row, so they've earned that jersey. It's up to the other boys to push them out,
Tonight, on a night when we lost some games to the weather, the pitch looks fantastic. It's a credit to the club here in Mohill that you can have a pitch like this, which 6 months ago wouldn't have been expecting to host senior football championships.
Yeah, look, we're delighted to have championship games on our home pitch. Like, in fairness to everyone here, they've done very well keeping it tidy. The pitch looks perfect, the surface is perfect, the grounds around it, and even with all the issues that's going on, like, they're managing it very well, I think. So fair play to them.
Well done today, and thanks for chatting to me.
Thanks a million. No worries.
Eanna Madden, thoughts after that?
Just a hard fought game. Don't think we played to our potential, but look, we grinded out in the end. Missed a lot, kicked a lot away, a lot of ball. Wet greasy evening, but look, fought it out well, and look, lots I suppose come away with and work on for next game. And we've 2 weeks now to build by next week, so 2 weeks to build for next game. So hopefully we can work on our mistakes and kick on.
Obviously, with an athletics background, you're well used to the cut and thrust of the competition, but how does it feel like on a day like this, having to deal with a ball as well as the running?
I'm normally stuck in the back line, so I normally like a day like this, but now I'm going to stick into up in the forward line, so it's just getting my handling back. I haven't played football a full game in since 2017, so back getting my handling. Boys are showing me the ropes again, but yeah, I'm finding my way back into it, and from an athletics background, I suppose I just have the fitness down there to keep me going throughout the game, but it's good to be back, playing a bit.
In terms of the competition, the overall championship, how has it been going for you personally?
I find like our first game was a good wake-up call against Sean O'Heslins. We were fairly good against Carrick. We kind of worked on a few mistakes. Played very well together as a team, and then this game was a right tester then, down to the wire, and Fenagh put it to us. So it's been very competitive, our group. So looking forward to building on to the last game, which will be fairly competitive too. Any
worries when you maybe saw them closing in on goal towards the end of the game?
The heart was in the mouth, but we knew our back line had it covered. Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much. Well done today.
Cheers. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Fenagh, on the other hand, I spoke after the match to Jack Gilheaney, and first I asked their manager Joe Flynn if he was disappointed with the defeat.
Yeah, definitely. We put on a good performance. It just wasn't to be. We had a couple of goal chances, we didn't take them. Mohill were a bit more clinical. We defended well for a lot of the game, and I think it was just nearly at the start of the second half where Mohill got a bit on top, and they swung a 2-point lead, and our 2-point lead in our favour into their favour. So that's where the game was won and lost nearly.
Some really good goal chances at both ends. You got lucky with one mistake at the back. Cooper made 1 or 2 great saves up the other end to deny you the match-winning scores.
Yeah, in fairness to the Mohill keeper, he was on top of his game today. Like a goal at that towards the end there obviously would have a massive influence on what was going to happen towards in the game. We probably had a shout for a penalty as well, I thought. But in fairness to Mohill, they are a seasoned team. I'm sure they're probably second or third favourites to win it, and I'm sure they'll have ideas of winning it as well. So it's great test for our lads today, and they showed that they can mix it with the big boys. So we're looking forward to Aughawillan in a couple of weeks. Just we'll regroup and give that a shot.
How much of a morale booster is this, despite the result, but knowing that you can compete with teams that are thereabouts at the top end of the championship?
Yeah, well, it always hurts to lose, but as long as they can take the positives out of the game and see where the rooms for improvement is. I think we're always improving every game, right from when the pitches opened back up in our first challenge match, and we've been improving every game since that. So we've a bit of work to go to get to that level, to that top level. But I think when we get there, you'll see a different Fenagh team, and hopefully we'll be competing with getting the better of your Mohills of the world in maybe a quarter-final or semi-final.
Mohill just seem to have a couple of extra players just that are a bit bigger and stronger. Can you do anything about that in the next couple of weeks as the championship progresses, or is that already done in the gym pre-championship?
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that at this stage. To tell you the truth, I decided when the players, because there was no access to gyms, to ask the players to go back in the gym after the lockdown was just going to be a high risk strategy, because bodies are going to get sore and stuff like that. So we actually haven't been doing that much gym work. But it's always a project. Fenagh's a project they've been building for the last 10 years, you see, with the underage teams. So today was just a little blip, but it's a blip that hopefully a lot of the lads will learn from.
Hard luck today, and best luck for this championship, Joe.
Thanks, Minnie Breffney.
Look, disappointing to come out the wrong side of the result. Probably thought at half time, maybe we could push on and get a result there, 2 points up, but Mo kind of came back the second half. We knew they were going to have their purple patch, and they did, and look, we missed a lot of chances, just so did they, but look, let's take the positives as well and learn for the next now. Aughawillan next week, so to move on now, we don't have much recovery time. So
there was a couple of handling errors towards the end, maybe gave you a bit of a squeaky bum time towards the end. They missed a really good chance that you kind of put them on a gilt-edged opportunity. Same down the other end. What kind of a day was it to be playing out there in tough conditions, but on a good surface all the same?
Yeah, I mean, look, after lockdown, we've only had one match since lockdown. That was against Carrick, and it was an absolutely lovely day. So we're probably not used to these conditions, because we haven't played football in a few months, and now you're only getting back to it. So handling's always going to be a bit more difficult, especially a day like today. But look, you have to cope with them. You can't control the weather. So look, this could be in September, it could be in a knockout game, and it could be like this. So you just have to play the conditions as they come.
How's the championship going for Fenagh overall? Obviously, second day out, 1 win, 1 defeat. Does that tell the full story of Fenagh's championship so far?
Yeah, I think we're very happy after the first day. We missed a few chances. Similar story again today, and I suppose a better team will punish you, and that's what Mohill did today. So we have to take. I suppose that's probably the biggest learning point for us now going forward. We have to get more clinical in front of goal, and look. Our goal is still to get to a quarter final, and once we get there, anything can happen. So we'll keep working out. We have 2 games left in this group, and hopefully two wins from those games as well.
What's the biggest change this year compared to last, in terms of, obviously last year disappointed on the pitch in terms of results? This year you look much fresher, much more up for the fight.
I suppose we have a lot more work done, and that's it. You can't replicate the work you do on the pitch. Even during lockdown, Joe was very good. He had given us runs to do. He was in constant communication with us. So even though we weren't actually allowed to meet up, we were still doing work. So look, you get what you put into it. Last year we didn't do the work, and that showed in the results. And this year, I know we lost today, but we have still been working hard, and hopefully that will show now later on in the year as well.
You look like you're missing the county football a bit. You seem to be giving Keith Byrne a bit of a hug there towards the end of the game. What exactly was going on?
That's just championship football. You're always going to get up and close with people. Shook hands after it. Everyone's going to be forgetting. Everything's going to be forgotten after that. So look, it's just championship football. It's going to happen. It's physical, and just get up and get on with it then afterwards.
Listen, hard luck today, but best luck for the rest of the championship.
Thanks very much, Bethany.
Now in Group B, it was all eyes on the local challenge between Allen Gaels and Leitrim Gaels, played in Drumshanbo on Saturday evening. James Flynn was the talking point after the game. Leitrim Gaels pushed into a 1-5 to no score lead early in the game, but after 26 minutes, James Flynn scored the first of what would be 9 points in that game to bring Allen Gaels back into the match. 110 apiece, the final score, in that James Flynn, as I mentioned, getting 9 points of the Allen Gaels tally, sending off a Colm Moreton late in the first half, probably the biggest talking point of the game. But I caught up with James Flynn the day after the game for his opinion on how the game went.
I suppose in one case a bit of a deja vu. We kind of, in the previous 2 games, we had kind of fell asleep at certain points. In the Manorhamilton game, it was the last 5-6 minutes. Melbourne Gaels, it was 10 minutes before half time, and yesterday we just didn't seem to get attacking right, and didn't seem to get any flow into our game, and the points were going in, and then the very sloppy goal that we gave away, it was our own mistake that led to it, so frustrating, I suppose, was the best way of putting it.
What changed from your point of view in terms of really kind of getting into that game in that second quarter?
I think definitely we just started applying more numbers to attack and just going at them. We were a bit static. Coming out with defence, I thought, and kind of running in single numbers as opposed to like we started running and giving off the ball and lots of lads coming off the shoulder, and it just seemed to cause them trouble. And they started having to foul us, and that got us back into the game then.
And you're a veteran of plenty of championship campaigns for Allen Gaels. Everyone laughs when I say that, but in terms of the overall impact over the years, you've been playing probably the best part of 2 decades. You've been involved in that team. Games like last night, 9 points yourself in the game. How much of an impact? How nice is it to still be making that kind of an impact at this stage of your career?
Oh, well, I suppose at the time you don't really think about it, but like if you go back a few months, you were kind of wondering whether I'd play at all, and the lockdown and everything, and it's just great to be able to play football, and as you say, I suppose have a bit of an impact in it. I suppose moving closer to the bench, as fellas, is the last number of the team, so but it's great to be able to play. It's it's enjoyable, and even yesterday the kids being able to watch at home on YouTube, and that's brilliant, so.
How does it compare at that age in your life where you have the kids at home old enough to know what's going on with daddy playing on TV, and then the guys beside you are maybe closer to their age than your age at 17, 18, 19? How does that does that go even through your head, or is it just another game?
No, it's just another game. I mean, yesterday was a local derby, a lot of in-laws who claim to be Leitrim Gaels people, and so I suppose there was a lot of slagging coming my way if we didn't make sure they didn't get the bragging rights out of it, so that was kind of going through my head surely in the last minute of the game. All right.
Of course, sending off in the first half probably had a big impact on the game. From an Allen Gaels point of view, what was going through your head when that happened?
Well, I think we were getting a foothold in the game, and we were certainly putting them under pressure at that point. It said we were attacking in numbers, and it was causing them trouble, and certainly the sending off probably did have a big impact, because he was catching a lot of ball in the middle of the field, and he was after scoring a great point off his left, and it certainly gave us a lift, no doubt about it, but I think we were coming into the game as it was anyway.
Now you talk about having in-laws, Leitrim Gaels. You're not that far from Leitrim Village yourself. It's just over the hill behind you. You're probably closer to Leitrim Village than you are at Drumshambo. So in terms of the local rivalry, you're stuck bang smack in the middle of it yourself.
Oh, absolutely. At least I'm the right side of the river, as the fella says. But no, it's great to be involved in occasions like that. And going into the shop and meeting lads, and like I suppose Leitrim. We'll say the village people were very confident going into the game on Saturday, because of their great victory in first day out against Kinlaw, and we lost to Kinlaw. So, I think a lot of the supporters felt they were coming up from Shambo to send us down, and, they nearly did, but we made it a bit closer, I think, than they thought it was going to be,
I think a lot of neutrals have been looking at that last round of games yourselves. It's your only game that's left against Drumreilly. Depending on how fixtures go, it's going to be winner take all for that last quarter-final spot in the group. Potentially, that's probably how it's going to work out. What's the thoughts in Allen Gaels kind of up to now? Has that kind of been the focus, and was last night a bonus, or was last night a game that you felt that you had a good chance of winning as well?
Oh, definitely, it was a game we thought we had a good chance of winning. Definitely, I mean, even the Kinloch game, like Hamilton, we missed 5 goal chances. If we took 2 of them, we would have drew the game. But the Kinloch, as I said, we fell asleep for 10 minutes, and that cost us the game. Last night, we fell asleep for 26 minutes. But no, definitely, it's going down now. Drumreilly at home, as you say, so there's going to be nothing easy down there. Like the last time we played them in Championship, it was a draw. They bet us the time before that, so they won't be fearing us going down to them, and it'll be knockout championship, and a lot of people are looking for knockout championship to come back, so they'll have it in 2 weeks' time. But lots of things.
In terms of the overall feel within the club and the mood within the club, what are things like, I suppose, before and after the game last night?
Well, I think initial reaction, I suppose, after the game was a bit of relief and content that we got a draw out of it. I suppose ultimately, it was a better result for Leitrim Gaels than it was for us, because it probably maintains their senior status, whereas we have to go and get a result against Drumreilly. But I think the one thing, like in the games that we played, we've kept going to the end. We showed a lot of fight to come back against Kinlaw. We showed a lot of fight to come back yesterday. Like we could have imploded really. We were 8 points down, and we showed great character, I think, to come back and dig deep. And that was the big thing that we took out of last night. That we dug deep and got a result.
In terms of the actual structure of the championship, though, only one team of the 10 go down. So even if you do finish into that bottom spot, there's still a playoff against a team in the other side of the draw. I know you don't want to think about that, but have you had a look at the other side of the draw, either for potential playoff opponents or, in a more favourable manner, the quarter-final opposition?
Not really. We just focused on who we had to play and go out and win. And we get to the quarter final in, and whoever comes out in the draw or the numbers add up. That's who you take on. We'll worry about that stage when we get to it. But
is there anybody you'd like?
No, I couldn't care less, to be honest. As long as we're there.
Well, listen, well done last night. Great comeback. On a personal note, fantastic to see you rolling back the years and sticking over 9 points in out of 110. It's a huge achievement for any player, and the very best of luck in that winner-take-all clash with Drumreilly in 2 weeks' time.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Bethany.
In the Ladies Senior Football Championship, we also caught up with participants from 2 of the 3 games played this weekend. In Carrigallen on Sunday morning, a very entertaining draw between St Joseph's and Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins. After the game, I caught up with Clare Owens.Ray McBrien of St Joseph's, while Eilish O'Dowd and Conor Harte shared their thoughts with me. Conor Harte, manager of Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins. Point gained or point lost today?
We were delighted with the result, I have to say. It's probably as close as we've been to St Joseph's in a good few years. So when we were coming here today, we were just looking to see could we at least match them for intensity. I thought our girls did. It was probably a game of 2 halves in one way, in that we dominated the first half, they dominated the second. They showed the bit of experience and the grit to claw their way back into the game from a good deficit. But no, look, we've learned a lot. Bit to go in the championship yet. Other teams as well. So we just take it for what it is, a good draw and learning experience.
In terms of the overall championship, people have been talking about a year's chances this year, and you've been setting kind of the world alight in terms of tongues wagging at least about your potential this year. The lads have been thereabouts in terms of championship favourites for the last season or 2. Is there a chance of a double maybe this year coming back to Ballinamore, or is that a little bit ambitious at this point?
I don't know which of us stands a better chance, but look, we just want to be competitive in this. That's our ambition, and we think we will be. But we're not getting carried away with any results or that. We think we can hold our own with the top teams in it. St Joseph set the bar. We were coming today to make sure, to see could we match them. Now look at, it's only one game, and they'll improve. We'll have to work on improving over the next few weeks. A couple of tough games coming up with Manorhamilton and Kiltubrid and St Francis. So, you know what? We'll see how those games go, and then we'll see where we're at.
How much of a statement of intent is today's result?
I don't think it's any statement. It's too early in the. It's a bit early in the campaign yet. It's only really when you get to the knockout stage. If you can win your semi-final, then you're in the hunt. But I think Manorhamilton are going to be very tough. Kiltubrid are going to be very tough. I don't know much about St Francis, but we'll see how we get on with those 2 games. And if we're competitive in those 2 games, well, then I think we'll be in with a good shout.
Talk to us about the actual performance today from your girls. Some really standout performances across the pitch from all lines of the team. In terms of your own opinion, where do you think you maybe have a few lessons to learn, or where do you think you did well today?
I thought we did well with the direct ball in the first half, and defensively we coped well with Michelle Hesson there, and no, they got a goal right at the end of the first half, which pretty much brought them back into the game, and if we work on the direct ball, I think we can improve on that. And we turned over a good bit of ball in the second half that we probably shouldn't have. So that's probably one of the areas we need to work on to improve.
Was that maybe an example of maybe where the experience of St Joseph's in winning county championships over the last 3 years probably just paid off a little bit for them?
Absolutely. Look, it's the ability not to panic when you're under pressure, and they didn't. They dug it out. They strung passes together. They were patient in front of goals, and then they had some big players there that made runs at the right time and took their opportunities. We probably weren't as clinical as that, but you know what? That's experience, and when you've won a few championships in a row and competed at Connacht, you can't buy that.
So I'll let you go before the weather sets back in.
Yeah, no, look, we're looking forward to the rest of the campaign. We've a few injuries to get sorted out as well, so hopefully the next few games will go well for us. That's it.
Well done today.
Thank you.
Really tough game now. St Joseph's really put it up to us. We kind of knew from start it was going to be a really tough game, a really hard battle. We're down a few players in that, so we knew ourselves we really had to push on hard. really tough game. I suppose they're very strong. They've a lot of experience. So we kind of knew ourselves that it was going to be really hard and we'd have to push on. But we got there slowly in the end. But I suppose draw's a draw.
Most people would have fancied St Joseph's coming into today's game, but you have been setting tongues of light over the last couple of rounds. Were you expecting to win the game today? Did you know you were coming here to really compete?
We knew we were definitely coming to compete. There was no element of us come and say that we're definitely going to come out and win this now or anything. But we were determined. We were preparing right, and we knew it was going to be a really tough battle. So we all put our heads down and we just went for it. So yeah.
I suppose people were looking at last year's finalists in terms of Glencarmanagh and St Joseph's as maybe being top of the tree this year. You've really made a statement today. In terms of going forward, a couple of games left in the round robin stage, you've pretty much put your name in the semi-final draw. Is it still the goal to hit that top spot position, and maybe when you meet Manor in a couple of rounds that you'll beat them?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I suppose we have another few really tough games ahead of us, so we just kind of have to regroup and take each game as it comes. No game is going to be simple. The rest of the teams in it are just as good as the rest, so we really just have to take each game as it comes and really go at it.
In terms of today's game, St Joseph's missed a penalty. You had a couple of goal chances towards the end that just didn't quite hit the back of the net for you. Do you feel like today maybe is a point gained or a point lost?
There was a lot of mistakes, I suppose, on both sides. We just kind of have to we'll look back at it and look at our mistakes. We're going to have to regroup and just look at all the mistakes that we made and hopefully come out the better side after looking at, yeah.
Well done today.
Thanks a million.
Clare Owens, what's your thoughts after that game?
Lucky to get out alive, I suppose. Yeah, Ballinamore are a force to be reckoned with now this year. They brought intensity that we haven't felt in a long time. I suppose with lockdown we're kind of easing back into it, but definitely Ballinamore made us aware that we're back in a championship 2020.
In terms of the game, obviously missed penalty from your end. They had chances up the other end. It could have gone either way really right up until the end. What's your thoughts on maybe how the game could have gone either way?
Well, I mean, first kind of 15 minutes we were kind of staring down the barrel of a defeat, so at the end of the game I suppose we just felt a bit relieved that we managed to get the draw. Yeah, we missed a penalty, but I mean, you know, that happens in games. We miss balls, we miss this, we miss that, so we didn't focus too much on the penalty. And again, as you said, they probably could have scored the other end and they didn't get them, so we got lucky in ways, and feel very lucky to have come out with a draw.
In terms of the overall look of the championship, how do you think this game will affect things as you progress towards the knockout stages?
Well, I mean, it's very hard to know. I think the way the championship is running this year, anyone, like we played Kiltubrid last weekend, they'll be a very different team in 5 weeks' time, whoever they're meeting. You know, it's running concurrently. Teams will have changed a lot from week 1 to week 5, so it's probably anyone's game really. I'm not sure how who we're playing works out, but it's very, very open, put it that way.
In terms of, I suppose, the game today, tough conditions though, and ball fairly slippery and kind of led to a few individual errors maybe that created those kind of chances.
Yeah, definitely, but I suppose considering matches were called off yesterday, even in the men's, we were lucky to have it played and a nice first half. The pitch was actually in brilliant nick, so can't complain too much about the conditions. Got a bit messy in the second half, but kind of brightened up as well. So, as I say, considering some matches were called off, we've been lucky this weekend and last weekend.
How much of a, I suppose, kick in the ass is this to yourselves? Maybe just to redouble the efforts in training over the next few weeks, knowing that there's more than just manner, maybe breathing down your necks from the last few years.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, we were under no illusions coming into this. Like with lockdown, it's been a really strange 2020. So, you know, every game we go out to play, we're thinking this could be the day that, you know, I mean, we are current champions, but that's not how we look at it. But other teams are looking at us as current champions, so we're very, very aware of that. Any game we go out to play, that, as I say, people are looking for a victory. Yeah, it's a wake-up call. We are kind of easing back into it, but I think it's clear today that we need to up the ante a little from here on in.
In terms of next week, what's the plan?
The plan next week is, I don't know yet, Breffney. I kind of Tuesday evening we'll go out and train and we'll take it from there. I don't know.
You really just take it week to week?
Yes, most definitely. I training session by training session when you're my age.
Listen, Claire, well done today and thanks very much for chatting.
Thanks a million, Breffney.
Ray McBrien, tough game this morning.
Yeah, it was a tough battle. We didn't expect any different from Sean O'Heslins. Good strong team, good running team. They were very well set up defensively as well, so we got it very tight to break them down, but we kept going for the full hour, and without setting the world alight by any means. We saw it out and got a good draw in the end. We're happy enough with the draw.
Any worries going through your head in the first maybe 15-20 minutes when they built up a fairly substantial lead?
Yeah, there was definitely worries because they were very well set up defensively, as I say, and we were getting very tight to break them down. So there was definitely worries, and they were breaking very well, and they were creating good goal chances and point chances as well. So we definitely were under the caution in the first half. I suppose half time came at a good time. We regrouped, went at it again, gradually got back in the game, got the scores we needed, and I suppose in the end, if there probably was a winner, it probably was going to be us. But at the end of the day, we were happy with the draw.
Do you feel a black card had any impact on the game?
It had an impact, yeah. She was possibly harsh enough, black card or yellow card, but that's what happens in ladies football, and we have to take them on the chin. 10 minutes is a long time off. They came into the game, then they broke at pace when she went off, especially. But it definitely had an impact. But we regrouped after she came back on and slowly got back in the game again.
In terms of the next steps for yourselves, where is the plan?
Well, we have St Francis now, and we have St Bridget's in the next 2 games. So, they're games we should be able to win. But we'll be looking at maybe introducing a few new players into the panel, into the team for the next couple of games. We limited it to 16 today because it was such a tight game. We physically couldn't put on any more because it's such a tight game, fairly intense game as well. So we'll be looking at maybe pushing on 2 or 3 more newer players into the fold next week.
Listen, well done today.
Okay, Breffney, thank you.
I also spoke to Gavin Durkin.manager of St Francis, about their victory over St Bridget's. Good to get a win in your second game of the championship.
Yeah, it was great to get a win yesterday. I thought we performed a lot better yesterday than the first day. We worked hard, forwards moved a lot better, and look, just things connected. It worked well for us yesterday, and we got out a result, and a good result.
What does that say for the rest of the championship?
Look, we're working towards a big game Friday evening now. We play Kiltubrid. We'll be going for a win and try and get a win on Friday evening, and that'll put us through hopefully the last 4, and who knows what can happen, you
You looking forward to maybe playing a game under the Friday night lights?
Yeah, it'll be something different. I suppose. Look, we have to work hard and get a result out of Friday night, and it's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. Kiltubrid's experienced side have been there in senior level for a long time, and look, we just have to work hard and try and get a result.
In terms of injuries so far this season, you've been badly affected. How much of an impact is that going to have on your season?
Yeah, we suppose from early season we had a lot of injuries. We just had to make changes, bring younger players in. But look at the younger players is making a great impact, and they're doing well. And just trying to work and focus as a unit now, and trying to get things to click for Friday evening.
We're here at your junior game on Monday afternoon, and it's a good performance from a very young side. It must be good for the future of the club to see the quality of the girls coming through behind that first squad.
Yeah, look, we're here, and there's some players playing very good out there. We have a great young team coming through, and there's great for the future. For the future of the club. There's you coming through the whole time, and some very, very skillful players there today, doing very well.
Anyone in particular catch your eye?
I thought today Padraig McGarry played very well for us there. Then there's an experienced lady called Louise Lachlan who's came back there today. I thought she played very well too. I suppose Maria McGrennan's good to see her playing back there too. She's a good footballer as well. So they're all doing well today.
In terms of the rest of the championship, what's the ambition, I suppose? Manor, St Joseph's and Ballinamore Sean O'Heslins have really pushed the boat out at the top of the table. You've been struggling a little bit when you're up against that opposition. Is 4th or 5th kind of where you see your fifth half finishing this year? What's your intention in between those two? Obviously you want 4th, but yeah. Friday night's going to be a big game in terms of where that position is going to finish up.
Yeah, I suppose we're just taking one game at a time. We're working towards Friday evening and trying to get a win against Kiltubrid, and you get through to the last 4. Who knows what can happen? That's our ambition, is just to take one game at a time and see how it ends up, who we play.
Well done yesterday on the first win in the senior championship.
Thanks very much.
In the Intermediate Football Championship, in what was effectively a water polo game at times, Kiltubrid and Gortletteragh played out an entertaining game. Gortletteragh ran out winners 16 points to 1-7 in the end, and we caught up with their chairman and manager, Barry Costello and Paul McGuire, after the game. Barry Costello, Paul McGuire from Gortletteragh, you must be happy after that result.
Yeah, we're delighted with the result. Look, it was terrible conditions there in the second half, and look at the lads dug deep and fought well, brilliant performance second half from our lads. Brilliant.
In terms of the overall club, what does it mean to be back competitive at competition after a tough year last year in the senior grade?
It's a big knock to go down back to intermediate, but look, the lads have embraced it and they're working hard, and hopefully they can be competitive and contest an intermediate championship and hopefully work their way back up.
2 wins from 2. What did you take out of today's game? What aspects of today's performance were you happy with?
Oh, I was happy with the tackling really in the second half there, and the pressure when Kiltubrid put pressure on us there. It was brilliant tackling in the second half, and lads stood up and be counted in the second half, and that was the big thing for me. Do you know what I mean? And we didn't die over. Probably against Drummer here in the second half. We died over in the second half and let them back into it, and today we didn't do that. You know what I mean? Lads stood up and they were counted for today. You know.
Obviously, a black card for a player of the calibre of Shane Foley is always going to have an impact on a game like this. How much do you think that played into the fact that you managed to hold them off in that comeback in the second half?
Not necessarily it's advantage to a team with an extra man. You know what I mean? Sometimes it always go against them. And look enough, we managed it well. You know what I mean? And we kept possession of the ball and we didn't give it away. You know what I mean? We controlled the game in the last 15 minutes. I think that was the big part, big thing for us.
Jack Heslin, a big part of that game today. He got taken out of it at one stage. Didn't seem to really have an effect on him though.
Yeah, look, Jack took a big knock there just probably before half time and rattled him a bit. And Jack is an exceptional player. Do you know what I mean? And he's a hard man to stop. So he is.
What's the hope for the summer in terms of the championship? We're not looking like summer weather today, but what's the hope for the summer as this progresses into the knockout stages? You've pretty much put your name in the draw for the quarterfinals. 2 wins from 2 now. You must be looking forward to seeing how the rest of the games progress and maybe that quarterfinal, that knockout stage.
I would not start talking about quarterfinals yet. There's still 2 games to be played and see how you finish in your group and what opposition you come up against. There's still a lot of competitive teams. You have Drumkeeran coming from the other side. You still have Annaduff. Still a lot of big teams in it. I wouldn't be talking about quarters or semis just yet.
Obviously, the break last week did you well coming into today. 2 games now in quick succession over the next 2 weeks. What's your approach going into that?
Yeah, it's just keeping lads fresh now and keeping them on the ground. Really, do you know? I mean, as Barry says, we take it a game at a time. We're not looking any further than the next game against Carrigallen, And look, we can see how we get on there. So
well done today, lads.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Kiltubrid co-captain Mick McCormack also spoke to me. Mick McCormack, co-captain of Kiltubrid. Tough day at the office today.
Yeah, tough day as well. Yeah, again, I suppose conditions weren't ideal out there. Ball handling was tough enough, and you could see that now it was very slippery. But you have to give it credit to Gortletteragh. They're a good, solid team, and they'll be thereabouts this year as well. Now they've good, very few handy players, and look, that's the level we want to be playing at as well now. And this new structure is making it very competitive as well, which is great to see. You want to be playing competitive games, bring on your football. So what can we do? We'll go at it again the next day.
3 defeats from the opening 3 games probably doesn't tell the story of your championship. You've been only a point off on the first 2 games. What's the prognosis really going into the last game of the competition?
Yeah, well, I suppose thinking now, to be honest with you, we think it's nearly still all there to play for now with the new kind of structure to the championship this year. I suppose it depends on how Carrigallen or Drumheir got on this evening. Now I haven't heard word yet there, but it could be a thing that it comes down to the final game between us and Carrigallen for the final 4th spot. Now, seeing that now, I don't know, Carrigallen could have got the win this evening as well. They're a good, solid team as well. So we'll just have to see and turn up the next day as well. And as you said, we were a bit unlucky as well, I suppose, with the first 2 games. But look, that's the way the ball fell, and we'll go at it again now. Final game.
Drumheir were in the lead pretty much the whole way through, but at the same time you never really let them get out of sight, and that goal in the second half really gave you a bit of a lift from Mickey early. What was the reaction like in the team to that? You didn't quite seem to build on that.
Yeah, well, I suppose it was great that we didn't lie down there at the stage. Gortletteragh started to take over there and went a good few points ahead, and I suppose we were delighted with the reaction to the lads that they didn't lie down. Like, they could have gone to the stage there where it was maybe we could have gone 10 or 12 points down at that stage, but we fought back. But I suppose we didn't capitalise on it enough as well. But I have to say now, they're a good, solid team, they're Gortletteragh, and they got a lot of turnovers into the defence as well, and I suppose that's probably why we didn't capitalise.
In terms of the conditions, obviously not what we quite expect here on an August afternoon, but how tough is it to play a crunch championship game in those kind of conditions?
It's always that bit tougher to play out there when it's raining like that, because you just never know the way the ball's going to fall. You never really can take your eye off the ball, and you have to just put that bit more focus into every single thing you're doing out there on the pitch. And like that as well, it makes the defensive work a bit easier as well for turnovers and that as well, because it is that bit slippier and harder to hold on to the ball. But look, we can't change the weather. We just have to do with what we have at the end of the day.
Opening game, you were wearing a face mask of some sort. What was that, and where has it gone today?
So last 2 games, I was wearing a face mask there. Fractured my nose, or broke my nose in a challenge game there about 4 weeks ago, and just had to get it reset then as well. So, but feeling comfortable enough with it, so I decided not to wear it today, because it can be a bit tough to wear it there. You know, it's hard to keep your eye on the ball when you're looking through goggles as well, I suppose. But I suppose I had to, for my own safety, I had to wear it, so nothing really I can do about that. Well,
listen, hard luck today, and the best luck in that final game against Carrigallen.
Thanks a million, Breffney. Thank you.
In the Junior Football Championship on Sunday afternoon in Cloone, they finally got their season up and running with their second victory of the competition so far. A comfortable victory in the end over Gortletteragh. I spoke to Padraig McGarry, the Gortletteragh captain, but first from Cloone, their sharpshooter up front, Gavin Mitchell. Gavin Reynolds, fairly comprehensive in the end.
Yeah, look at these games, you never know what to expect in the group stage, especially with second teams. You don't know who they're going to have available, so look at, you have to take every team seriously and give every team a bit of respect, and look at, we focused on our own job and we got the job done today with a few points to spare.
What was the frame of mind coming into the game? I suppose it's always hard to kind of motivate yourself against a second team.
Yeah, well, I suppose, especially this year, it's very uncertain compared to other years. You don't know, teams have players available that they didn't have available before. There's no lads gone in J1s or anything like that, so you don't know who a team is going to have now. So you have to give every team a bit of respect this year, and just prepare the same as you would for any first team.
In terms of the competition structure, Cloone probably don't think they should be in junior football. Is it a goal for this year to get out of that back up to the intermediate ranks and win this championship out?
Oh, definitely. That's our goal this year. I think with the restructure last year, I suppose those 4 teams relegate, and we found ourselves in the tougher group, and we were just unfortunate 1 or 2 games, and we were relegated to junior for the first time in a long time. But look, at the goal is to try and get back up in intermediate ranks for 2021.
In terms of, I suppose, the next couple of weeks and months as the championship hots up towards the knockout stages, what do you think are the biggest obstacles maybe to that happening?
Look, I suppose the championship seems to, it's kind of drawn out. I suppose we've 2 weeks free now, and then there's another game, and then there's another break. There's breaks, I suppose, in the middle of the championship that you have to kind of be keeping yourself on your toes and keeping the team sharp and that. So we might look at maybe a few challenge games or something for them a couple of weeks. But I suppose just keeping focused and taking every game seriously and looking forward to the next game.
Well done today on a personal level as well as some nice scores there.
Oh, look at all I'm thinking about is going out and getting the 2 points every day, and keep driving on.
Well done today.
Thanks very much.
Padraig McGarry, tough day at the office for Gortletteragh second side today.
Yeah, tough day today, Refney. We probably bit off a little bit more than we could chew on. I suppose a lot of old soldiers still plugging away, and some of the young guns probably played the game yesterday as well, so it's just I were just a little bit overstretched for a second squad. Playing Cloone's first team here today was always going to be a big ask.
I suppose your first team in the intermediate grade doing all right so far this year. It's been a good year. In terms of this coming down, still some decent performances there from, as you said, some of the old guns. Yourself and Colm Moreton, well used to GA fans across the county would know you both well over the last, probably, I'll be generous to say, last decade or so. In terms of the future, what is the future for Gortletteragh with fielding teams like this?
The future is good. Yeah, no, it's always a challenge to build a strong second squad when your first team is challenging in the higher ranks. You're trying to, balance younger guys breaking through to the first team, probably younger guys you were hoping to have for these second teams, and then they get started or they get in on the first string and they're gone for us then. So it just weakens the second string. But the future's bright for Gortletteragh. We've a great underage structure there. Some great youth coming through. I think the next 10 years is going to be good. We've a new pitch been built on our grounds as well, and everybody's very positive and upbeat, and I think we'll try and slog away the old guys to keep it going as long as we can, and hopefully the young blood will come through soon.
Fairly physical encounter here today without ever really crossing into dirty. Do you like that kind of aspect of the game still? Is that why you're still floating around on pitches?
Well, sometimes it's all you have left. Sometimes it's to bring a bit of physicality to it. But no, it was all in fair game, and I think both teams were respected each other. And I suppose being neighbours, it was always going to be a clash, but we were never really at the races. And I suppose we just tried to give a good account of ourselves and bring all we could to it, just to make it somewhat entertaining. But I think the scoreline, thank God there was no scoreboard here today in Cloone, but I suppose maybe it didn't really reflect. I think we were in the game for long periods, but we just didn't have enough probably up front and in a lot of positions to really challenge Cloone.
In terms of the overall outlook, is this squad in Gortletteragh's team really about creating that opportunity to give lads championship football and maybe build them for that intermediate side?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always what the second string structure is about, is to give the younger fellas who aren't getting the game time at senior level to bring them on, and I suppose the older fellas who are still charging away and still interested to keep them going and just build on your first team and try and get your first team as strong as possible. And when you have 2 teams training, it's always good, and you get a bit of competition and a bit of physicality of training, and that's what makes it interesting.
None of you wants to be involved in that intermediate grade yourself, and maybe can we see you back in that championship as it progresses?
That day is gone. But no, it's still, if the body was able, we're always willing. But no, those days are long gone. But yeah, just keep the push on for the lads and the younger fellas coming through, and keep the interest of training. That's all we can do.
So thanks very much for chatting to me, and hard luck today.
Thanks, Breffney.
And the final fixture of the weekend was in the Ladies Junior Football Championship, where Fenagh were the visitors to Ballinamore, where the hosts St Francis' second side took them on in a game. Fenagh won it quite comfortably in the end, 7-17 to 1-7. But we spoke to St Francis player Emma Dunne, but first the Fenagh captain Roisin O'Toole. Roisin O'Toole, what's your thoughts after that game?
Well, I didn't think the score reflected the game at all. They're a good fit side. We knew they would be coming into the game training with their first team and all, and they got the first score on the board and kind of rattled us a bit, but then we got the next few and I think we drove on from there.
In terms of the outlook so far, it's obviously 2 first teams in this junior championship, yourselves and Drumkeeran. How nice is it to get a win on the board?
Oh yeah, it's great to get the first win now, thank God. I think next we have St Joe's. I know they're after having a good win in their first game. We had to buy the first week, so hopefully we'll be able to put it up to them as well. It'll be interesting to see because they're a second team as well, so how that goes.
What's the mood like in the Fenagh camp at the moment?
Great, yeah, we've good numbers out of training, and this year it's going very well for us so far anyway.
Talk to us about some of the players that you've got that maybe are back or we might not have seen before in a Fenagh jersey.
Let me see. Well, Ciara O'Neill, she's playing with us this year. She's from New York, but she's over here for college. And yes, we have her, and she's very good, very fit. Then we have Kate Gilheaney. She'd be young and fit as well. She's coming into the team this year, maybe last year. I think that's it really. Yeah, we've a lot of young ones anyway coming into the team.
And is she studying third level in Fenagh?
Oh, in Athlone, but she's in Ireland for college, so.
The game today a little bit one-sided in the end.
In the end, yeah, but they were a good side and they're very fit as well. I don't think the score reflected the game at all, to be honest.
What's the hopes for the rest of the campaign? Obviously 5 teams this level now, 4 going to the semi-finals.
So there was meant to be 7 at the start, but 2 have gone. So when you have 4 or 5 games now, so I think there's St Joe's and Drumkeeran and Manor we have left. So hopefully we'll be able to get another few wins in that and push on then.
Is there a championship in this team?
Hopefully, anyways, fingers crossed. I think we have good enough team to do it. If only we can all just get together and keep going. So hopefully, anyway.
Listen, well done today.
Thanks a million.
Emma Dunne, your thoughts after that game?
It was a good, tough, physical game. Fenagh, it's good to see Fenagh now with such great numbers, because I know last year they were struggling, and that was a really good physical game. It was strong, the fitness was there, our girls worked their butts off, and you could see it on the field. Everybody coming off, barely able to do a warm down. So that's what you want coming off a field. You want girls knackered, you want them to have worked hard for the team. So I'm happy enough with the performance of our team. Now, scores didn't come as easily to us as they did to Fenagh, which happens in games. But for me personally, the work rate of our girls is just as important as scores on the day.
I suppose effectively missing 20 players considering you're a second team, and a couple of injuries to that first team has robbed you of a few more players over the first 2 rounds of the competition. What does it mean to have that level of numbers coming through the club?
Oh, it's brilliant. The future is there. The future is bright. Do you know, I know that's a cliche, but the future is bright for St Francis. Our team this year is a young team, and it's great to see those numbers coming through, because I was one of the first players on St Francis ladies. So to be able to look at these young ones coming through and saying our team is still going to live, it's going to go on into the future, it's a great feeling. It's brilliant.
Obviously, at this level, the second team, you're up against a couple of first teams. I know you have to play Drumkeeran later in the competition. What is the reason and I suppose the aspiration for this team for the rest of the championship?
To get better. Everybody gets football, and that's what it is. There's girls come to training, whether you're on the first team or the second team, you put in the same amount of effort as every player on the pitch. So it's only fair that girls get game time. Do you know? So that's the way we've looked at it this year. And also, game time is experience. That makes the fighting for the senior team a lot tighter, and it's a lot better, do you know, because it's game time. There's nothing like game time. You can't replicate that in training. Game time is totally different. So everybody getting game time, it makes not only the senior team better, but the junior team better, and fighting for the places is more competitive.
In terms of the game today, very one-sided in the end, particularly on the scoreline. Maybe, as you said, it doesn't quite reflect the flow of the game. But in terms of maybe lessons learned for those young girls playing today, what do you hope they'll pick up from today's game?
Look, you know yourself, you have to, straight after a game, you're thinking kind of your own performance. So you have to take a step back, analyse the whole game, as a team and then come back. So what the girls might be looking at, one thing we can work on personally in the backs, because that's where I play, is communication and just talking to one another and getting the younger girls not to be afraid to roar at me and say, Emma, you're not doing your job, get the hell back. So for me that'd be something, because their work rate was excellent. The younger girls worked just as hard as the older girls, or whatever you want to call us, or the middle girls. So I just think it's a little bit of kind of maybe guidance from me or something to say to a girl, shout at me, I don't care. Hate me, I don't care. But look, I think the younger girls are doing absolutely fantastic. They're pushing us, older girls as well. They're pushing us and pushing us and pushing us. So I know that I take more positive out of it and then come and reevaluate later of what we need to work on. That's kind of the way my mind works. So I can't give you, I think, what we need to do right now. I'd need an hour or two to come back to you.
Well, listen, well done on, I suppose, getting the second team out today and being so competitive.
Oh, thanks a million. Thanks very much for your time.
And that, folks, is it for another week here on Leitrim Daily. Thank you so much to everybody who spoke to us this weekend. It's been a bumper show, way longer than we had intended, but we love bringing you all the different aspects of all levels of football, male and female, from across the county. Plenty more sport over the next couple of weeks. Don't forget, of course, the League of Ireland is back. Sligo Rovers had a massive win in Derry on Friday, 2-0. Their game against Waterford tomorrow evening is off due to a suspected COVID case, or at least the symptoms of COVID, with a Waterford team member. So that remains to be seen when that game will be played. But at the moment, it will not be played tomorrow night. Longford Town about to kick off as we are recording this. We don't have an update on their score tonight, but we'll bring it to you on Friday on the sports preview show for the weekend. We'll report back on how that game went. You can, of course, catch all of the League of Ireland fixtures in the Premier Division on watchloi.ie, and Sligo Rovers will be featured on all their games, while Longford Town have their own multimedia package for their First Division clashes. Check that out on their website as well. Thank you very much for listening. It's been great. Thank you for all the support over the last few weeks, and stay with us as we bring you everything that's happening across all of the championships in the county. This has been Leitrim Daily. I've been Breffney Early. Thank you so much. Talk to you on Friday.